we have with us Daniel Hetzer, film and TV producer, whose projects include films such as the racing epic Rush, directed by the two-time Academy Award winner Ron Howard, and an action film Collide starring Academy Award-winning actors Anthony Hopkins and Ben Kingsley. Daniel was a senior executive at 20th Century Fox, and his work includes numerous successful international projects and co-productions. Daniel, it's great to see you again, and welcome to Digital Days 2020 in Switzerland.
Thanks a lot. It's a big honor to be here, or to be. I mean, I'm not with you, yeah, but we are together, and thanks to the digital age that we're living in. We can now talk to each other, across continents. That's, fantastic. And thank you again for inviting me for this opportunity. And I very much look forward to discussing with you, the digital future.
Daniel, for some of our viewers who might not be clear what a producer does on a film project, and I know there are different types of producers as well, could you please explain how you normally get involved in film and TV projects?
My biggest thing as a producer is I have to turn a no into a yes. I think that's the key. I mean, there's many things. You got to source the project, you got to develop the project, you got to find the talent out then and attach and package the talent to the project, and develop the script. You find the money to produce it, find distribution companies that want to distribute it. You find the production company that executes the production, the physical production. And then you got to post-produce it. You got to put it together, and then you have a final movie, and then So it's a long chain of value chain of different departments, and it's quite. I would say it's a quite holistic business, because you have to be a jack of all trades a bit.
Not everyone, I think, understand the extent of what goes into making the movies we see these days, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think for me, every movie is like setting up a new company, like a startup. You have an idea, and then you write a business plan. That's writing a script. Yeah, and then you try to find financiers, and you find your financiers, and then you hire people, and it's, the films that we do, usually we hire between north of 200 people that work on that project. And easily, yeah. So just crew and team, and I'm not talking about cast and extras. And so if you have a lot of extras, you have thousands of people in the end of the day, yeah.
Wow.
So, but it's like setting up a company, and then for a couple of months you run that company, and you build or you produce that movie, and then you shut down the company, and it's like a parabola curve, and so that's every movie is a new company, and then also it's like a new family. Yeah, it's also making a movie is always a very, very sensitive and also very personal thing.
In these times of digitization, and you've worked in the film industry for such a long time, how has it changed the major processes that you've described of filmmaking since the previous decade?
I mean, digital is just another. I mean, I can send you now my film link and the material, and you can work on it in Canada while I sit here in Berlin and work on the film. This wasn't possible kind of 20 years ago or even 10 years ago, because these kind of big data terabytes that you're sending,
yes.
This wasn't an option, like a couple of years ago, which is now, just a very standard thing to do. But, the core of filmmaking is storytelling, and storytelling hasn't changed since the ancient Greek, I would say. And I dare to say, sure, everybody's talking about different formats for, all our little digital devices that we have. But, a compelling character and a good story still follows the same pattern. Digital, I think, is a way of distributing. And sure, it is. It now has a strong influence of what we can do. We're not filming on film anymore, film material. We're filming, we're storing everything and on data cards, and so our filming ratio is totally different. And I have to say, it gets more expensive, yeah, and it gets a bit more complex. But in the end of the day, you have to just tell a great story.
And what do you think are still some problems that present opportunities that maybe digitization could help solve, and what you've just described, and bringing storytelling to life?
I hope we won't replace humans playing. I don't see avatars doing that. I'm missing the magic there. And yes, I mean, if we look further, we've discussed that, just yesterday there. I mean, if we're able to plug into our neuronal nerve system, and we live in in an alternative reality, yeah, a virtual reality. That's a different kind of the holodeck of Starship Enterprise. Yeah, but I mean, we're still far away from that. Sure, we use to kind of digital, technology to enhance, action sequences, to enhance environments, and I mean, yes, we can now make movies that we weren't able to make, like Lord of the Rings in a way, or Avengers or Avatar, and I mean that's just, it's great storytelling and using these new technologies. But in the end of the day, if the character is not strong and the story is not strong, all your digital devices won't help you to make it, to entertain. Yeah, so it all comes down to someone, and I have to say, a creator, a writer that writes, that it sits at a desk in front of empty pages, be they digital or analog, and that writer has to fill, for a movie, 100 pages roughly, and then they give it to us. We package it with stars or not stars and actors, and you find a director to shoot it. And these empty pages, turn into full pages, and then and then we build this company that I talked to you about, and then we hire all the crews that produce it. So this is a very material thing that we're doing. And then the magic happens is we're just displaying, colored light on a white wall. Yeah. And this is the movie that you're seeing then. Yeah. And this is what came out of the 100 empty pages. And we've spent, I don't know, 20, 30, $50 million or less or more. But in the end of the day, the magic is light displayed on a wall. And then now you have digital devices that display the light on the wall. We used to have, film projectors that put, shone light through, film material. So yeah, but digital is definitely, something that opens new doors for us. Every time and again.
Which digital tools and marketing techniques do you think would most enable a film to shine, to get to their viewer?
A big star.
Yes.
But, yeah, I mean, in the end of the day, is in this world. I mean, and again, the digitization is opened the floodgates, and a lot of material program flooded the landscape, and it's to raise awareness for your film is a tough thing, and there are so many, but in the end of the day, it's either the big IP, the brand that stands behind it, it's already well known, or it's the big star that people know and that that draws attention. And I would say still the classic marketing platforms like television and print and broadcast, and is still very important in there. Then combined with all the social platforms, and then, but again, you're using your big names as ambassadors, for your film, and they get invited to talk shows, or now we have influencers that talk to them, or or themselves, they have huge follower ships in the millions that are useful to market your film.
And looking for that unusual and creative content, how do you find the ideas, especially given the process that you described takes a relatively long period of time, and we live in an ever-changing world with trends, news, events? How do you pick something that you think will be a winner several years perhaps down the road after the ideas spark?
Yeah, I mean, it's the thing that we're currently doing. We're making a movie for one of the top, or maybe the top streamer, and I mean, there are not many outfits today with Corona that are willing to take these risks, to produce a movie. Just it's insurance risks, but my partner had a lunch, almost a little longer than a year ago with one of the key executives there, and they've asked him if he could produce that film for them, and we're now in the second week of production. So this is absolute turbo fast that we are here in production, and especially with Corona. But usually there's no pattern. It could take ages Writing is rewriting. Never. A script is never done, never ready. You have to decide to say, okay, now we go, now we make it. Yeah, because you could go back to the drawing board again and again and again and again. Yeah, so it's a never-ending story, so to say. Yeah.
I guess it could always be better, and it could always be
always
a better fit. So then, if things are changing, you're adjusting the stories sometimes, and sometimes it works, and sometimes it doesn't. Right?
Yeah, I mean, if I'd known, this was the question. Is if I'd know what works and what doesn't, we wouldn't be talking. I would. You know what I mean? No, it would be. It's just I don't think that no one. That is filmmaking from a business point of view. This is like venture capital. Yeah, and we talked about it. And a film studio, a major studio is like an investment bank, like classic investment bank. And instead of financial analysts, the studio has creative analysts. I mean, they are creative. They could be producers, but they decided to work on the studio side and help creators and producers to create the movie or the series or the show. Yeah. So and they don't know if this will be a hit. I mean, and it doesn't mean if you had a hit last year, you'd be able to create a hit next year.
Right.
There's so many factors that influence if your movie becomes a hit or not. And this is from how the popcorn is salted or buttered, to how the people felt when they were in the movies, if they're talking about it when they go back to work, if it's good, if there's so many components to that is if the marketing was right, and if whatever happens on the political daily basis, there's so many factors that influence potential success or failure. What you can see is if you read a script, you see if it's great quality, if it's great writing. If it's great writing, then if you're not a studio, if you're kind of like me, I'm an individual. Do I want to spend 2 or 3 years of my life with that? Even if it's a great script, maybe I don't want to make it because it's a topic I don't want to spend time with, or it's people I don't want to spend time with, or there are people that don't want to spend time with me. You never know, right? So it's really I think the key thing is what I'm looking for is just great script quality, a great script, a great story, and something that page turner, something that that I want to see, and then I think, okay, I'm a very generic guy if I like it, and I'm ADD, and if I'm not bored by it after 10 minutes, then I think, there might be an audience for it, right?
That's fantastic. That's such an interesting process. And you mentioned that obviously it's much harder now during these unusual times with the COVID-19 pandemic, yet you're able to push forward on a major project with a significant digital platform. And what I understand from you, that this is something that could in itself be a film of how we shot this film, how we're shooting this film. How would you suggest filmmakers in general are dealing with the situation right now? How are they able to use digital tools? And if they're not, still, are they able to advance filmmaking in this unusual time?
Filmmaking itself is already a very complicated, complex process, and now you have Corona on top of it. I mean, still, we are lucky we are working. Most of my colleagues aren't working. And the artists, and I mean, that's a very, very tough situation currently, I have to say. And it's bleak, I have to say. But we're lucky. We're out here. This is the thing is really is controlling the situation and having a strong partner. And the experts in the major studios, they are strong partners and they need content, and we help to make that content for them. So we are, in the end of the day, we are out there in the trenches. I don't want to say we're putting our life on the line here, but at the end of the day, yes, my crews, my guys are out there. Then they are taking a risk. And if you sit in your office or in your home office doing a Zoom call, you're not out there with 150 extras on set, and and that's something. We are very happy to do that. We are out to be able to work and making a film.
In terms of the broader perspective of the world and the digitization, what is your personal wish for the digital future?
If you're a creator and from Bucharest, Romania, that sits down and writes 100 pages today through digitization, the digital platforms, you can, sell your story and not only sell your story, but also, entertain with your story a global audience. And that wasn't possible before the digital world. And I think that's the great thing that, all around the world, there are the Johann Sebastian Bachs, the Goethes, the Shakespeares of this world. They will be found. They now have a platform, the new ones, I would say, and where they can express themselves and help us making great content to entertain the world.
That's exciting. And Daniel, thank you for your extremely insightful comments. And thanks again on behalf of Digital Days 2020 in Switzerland.
Thank you very much. It's been a great pleasure.